I don't know. We might need to add Brock Purdy to that intro clip. We're missing a quarterback on that intro clip. I think he's deserved his way on there. Before we get started, I want to let everybody know that we are simulcasting this stream on Rich's channel, Celts Chronicles, and on my channel. So wherever you may be watching it, or if you haven't subscribed to Rich's channel, go kick over there, and vice versa. Rich, before we get started, just to let everybody know kind of what the deal is now that we're doing this simulcast.
Yeah, man, it's just the way I see it, it's just to where we both can eat, and then at the same time, if there's people that know me that might not know you, hopefully this can encourage just to spread all the love throughout the community. Real talk, that's the way I look at it. So it's dope. Thank you for setting this up and us coming together and being able to chop it up about the team we love, man.
Yeah, it's funny is Amin told me he wasn't going to make it tonight, and then he said he might, and then he let me know he's not. I said that's the whole reason with the thing with Rich is now we'll always have kind of like a steady 2-man deal going, but we'll always be cool to have the third. So
Let's do it.
I don't know, man. I was uptight yesterday because I could just see the division was so close. And that game was way closer than it needed to be. I think the Niners dominated that game throughout mostly. If that pick six happens, then, it's a whole totally different score. But, man, how are you feeling one day removed knowing the Niners are 1, NFC West champions, and 2, we're in the playoffs. We're in the tournament, dog. That's all you need is a chance, right?
Man, hey, man, I wish I could, do something to really, pop off some kind of celebration noises or, man, it just puts a smile on my face, man. We have not, got into the playoffs and won the division this early since 2011. It's always not number one goal, but it's always the first goal. The first goal for an NFL team or any sports team really is to win the division. That's always numero uno, the first goal. And we did it, man. We did it on the Seahawks field. That just makes it even sweeter with the third string. It's like there's just so many.
Say it. Do it. I don't care. Say it. How many? There's what?
Hey, I wasn't gonna say that. It's funny. The one time I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah, there's so many layers to the game, man. There's so many layers to but there's so many.
Oh, I got you.
And I guess I could use layers for this one. There's so many layers to what has happened to this San Francisco 49er team. I mean, going back since Trey was, we could go back to the Super Bowl. We can go back to Super Bowl the 19 year. We could go back to when Trey was first drafted. It feels like it's just been a never ending adversity facing controversy, kind of dark cloud, but excitement and drama and this, that, and the other. And it feels like it almost feels like winning a mini Super Bowl just to be able to do what we're doing. I just feel, proud of this team. I had a ton of harsh words, versus Kyle, John. When I first came into this thing about 2 years ago, I'm preaching restore the legacy. What are you doing, John and Kyle? I thought it was brick by brick. And I've learned, hey, they're not perfect. I'm not perfect. They're human. They're obviously trying, and they've built this thing beautifully. And, I continue to learn, to take steps back, own up to, not biting the hook on a lot of the negativity, that surrounds the community and the world, and just be proud, especially in this moment. Be in the moment. I'm preaching to myself right now. Be in the moment and enjoy this dang thing. So that's where I'm at.
Man, I'm such a cynic and a hard person to watch football with because I'm so stressed because it's been a long time since the Niners won a Super Bowl. We're talking since I was 15. And sometimes you watch games and you're like, something, man, this team might have it. This team might have that special thing that you need. Now, I know I said, with everything, take everything with Brock Purdy like game by game and don't get overly optimistic, but at the same time be optimistic, but don't, go too far ahead in the future and like let things play out. But to say that I don't mentally go there and thinking, yo, this dude might have it. This dude might be the one that's going to get us a championship out of all of them. The Trey Lances, the Jimmies, all these guys. I've let my mind go there. And I'm not really concerned about what's going on down the road with Trey and all that stuff. I'm concerned about this year. This defense is special. Like, they're really good. And the offense now is actually at a point where I don't get as stressed when they're on the field because call me crazy, but this kid has this calm about him that kind of gets through the fan base. Like, everybody's like real relaxed now. Like with Jimmy, he's always skittish. His feet are always moving. He misses reads. We were talking off stream about how this guy sees these reads that Jimmy, like, we don't know how he misses these reads and guys are open. And then if he does see them, he overthrows them. Like those two passes, the one to Tyler Kroft and the other one to Kittle, both times I thought he was going to miss them because I'm so used to Jimmy. And both times they were accurate on the money throws. And he's dealing with the strained oblique. Dude's in serious pain. So the fact that they won the division and they're in the playoffs, I just want to say I'm more than through to the moon about it. And I'm glad they got a little bit of time to relax and have some time off. There's talk that Kinlaw might be back, which is like, freaking bring it. I don't even care. More to merrier. More dominant players on defense. They'll smack people around. But yeah, I'm more than super excited, and I can't wait till we play the Commanders. I never thought I'd say that. Sometimes with games, I like to enjoy the game that just happened because I'm nervous about the next one. I'm actually like anticipating, like, I think we could beat on them too. Like I've never been this confident in a long time. So
man,
it's kind of weird.
What a breath of fresh air. Off stream, we were, I was talking about that. It just feels like as San Francisco 49er fans, especially, I was 8 years old during the Super Bowl, but I remember it so well. It's like I just remember those times so well, and just it always felt, well, not always felt easy, especially when Steve Young went through those concussions, and then there was Green Bay and this, that, and other. But there was always a sense of just, we're gonna always be all right. It's all good. Like, we're still one of the best. And it felt like it was the opposite with Jimmy, and not to completely crap on Jimmy, but it's just the truth of what he brought through the majority of the fan base. And it's just a breath of fresh air, man. It truly is. It's like there's no other. I put a I put a comment somewhere today. I believe it was on TED Talk where I got to thinking. Larry Krueger was talking about the composure of Purdy, and we all see it. But it just reminds me of the stories of when people talk about Joe Montana, in the Super Bowl. Like, hey, isn't that John Candy down there? I feel like Brock is the same dude, man. Whether he's talking to the media, whether he's on the field, he's over here telling Kittle, hey, he's just he seems like a vet, man. That's just the only way I can really say it. My dog's trying to tear down my studio. Oh boy.
We actually have a guest that we're going to bring on here with us because he got canceled on. So let me do this and hold on. Bear with me, people. I'm slow when it comes to the StreamYard interface here.
Yeah, I wonder if I could do it. Let me see.
And then boom.
There it is.
There it is.
What's up, gentlemen?
All right. Yee. What's going on, Beto? I'll ask you, or Rich will ask you, or just tell us what you like. How amped are you about last night, man?
Fired up, bro. This is why I'm glad you guys allowed me to come on. I was going to go live at 6. Somebody invited me on their show, and they canceled out on me in the last minute. Everything was turned on in my studio. I'm like, what? Well, I guess I'll turn it off. And then I
saw you in the comments. I was just trying to pick the right time. I wanted Rich to get his thoughts out. I wanted to get my thoughts out.
No worries. No. So I'm just saying that because you're asking me how amped up I am about yesterday's game. I'm like, I gotta let it out, and I'm doing a show at 8 o'clock on my channel. But I still wanted to come on, talk to your fine gentlemen. I'm fired up. We won the NFC West. This is our 18th West title. the most
go.
of the West. The Rams don't have that many, so we own the West first and foremost. I'm excited, guys. I'm fired up. We did it with a third string quarterback. Great coaching by Kyle Shanahan. Probably the greatest defense ever, especially if we win the Super Bowl this year. I'm fired up, man. Against the Seahawks, our foes. Listen, Geno Smith could not breathe if his life depended on it. He was being harassed. We might have got one sack, but it's not even about the sacks, it's about the harassment that he was under. He was under fire. And that one play by that interception that was taken away, pick six, the referees, man, that's so frustrating that they called the roughing the passer on Bosa.
Yeah, the referees did not want people to start turning off the television toward the end of that game because it could have been a massive blowout.
The league offices were like, hey guys,
man, this isn't this isn't a conspiracy theory. We have heard these rumblings through the decades of, certain what's the word I could use? Just not malpractice, but there's certain that certain things are, kind of rigged a certain way sometimes, and it's the truth. The facts came out. What was it? The Redskins. I'm thinking what teams it was where it came out where some of these kind of. I'm at a loss for words on the word I want to choose for it, but
the goings on of the league and things that look
just
not real credible. Like, I'll give you
$1 billion industry, so they're gonna try to keep their hand in it sometimes. For
how much money is made off of betting in the National Football League?
Absolutely.
There was that one referee that in the NBA during the Jordan era. Guys, I'm talking about, right? He bet on games.
Yeah.
It happens. People are like, nah, you're just saying that because your team sucks or this, that, and the other. I'm like, no, dude, there is people that make monetary gains on calling games a certain way. Dude,
they don't realize the power of the mafia that has their hands in the betting, gaming.
I was saying in my live stream, I was calling the game play by play, and I was like, hey man, it doesn't, people were getting super frustrated. People were getting hella mad about it. And I was kind of just being chill. Like, it's good. Hey, they could keep the game close, but they could try everything they want to try, but they ain't taking this from us. Typically they alter the games, and sometimes it does freaking just, crush us. But it's like it's inevitable this year. That's the way it feels to me. It just feels like it's inevitable, man. It feels like we're coming to take it. It doesn't matter 5th string, 7th string. What up, my man Rohan? I know we've never gotten to meet. I love to meet
good way to start.
I keep blistering him with invites.
What's up, Rohan?
He finally gave in.
My man.
Aaron, I do got to apologize. I mean, it's been it's just the finals week. That's why.
Don't worry about it. I always leave it there. I let that carrot dangle just in case you want to bite it.
If we're being honest, I honestly did not know today was Friday. Even glad we can get the show on, and I came on. So
that's how busy your week's been, bro. When you don't know what day it is, bro, that tells you how busy you're definitely are.
That could be a good thing or bad thing, but it looks like it's a good thing. Hey, you got to smile.
Hey,
don't know what day.
They invited him into the locker room. They let him go. Here's the thing: when Rohan said he doesn't know what day it is. You guys ever take naps as older guys? We're all adults, and you wake up and you literally don't know what day it is, or if it's morning, or if it's evening. That's kind of how it must be for Rohan right now.
Don't say old people. I feel that sometimes.
Okay, you're young, but I'm talking about the other three.
There's sometimes where I'll pass out like after a test or something, and then you wake up just like, shoot, is it the next morning already? It's like 7 p.m.
Bro, when you retired, since I've been retired, bro, I used to look forward to the Friday because I knew Friday the weekend was coming, day offs. I was looking. Now that I've been retired, sometimes I tell my wife, what day is it today? She says, it's Wednesday, or it's just I don't really care because I can get up anytime I want, go to sleep anytime I want. So I lose concept of when retirement. So I feel you. But so I used to lose concept when I was really busy. And now that I have a lot of time, I'm like, what day is it? So I hear you, brother. I hear you.
Rohan, man, how are you feeling after last night? I wanted to get your I'm through to the moon, and I'm super negative about stuff. So I'd like to hear your opinion.
It's all right.
Yeah, and I mean it's a great win. Obviously, you win. You get the division. And the circumstances, I equate this win similar to the win against the Saints. The circumstances are obviously a little more extreme. The Saints game, you heard about the travel issues and how there were no full speed reps all week until Friday of that week, which normally doesn't happen on a Monday night game. You normally get full reps Thursday, full speed reps Friday, and then you go into the game. As a result, you'd expect the offense to be a little more sloppy. This one's a little different. You have a 4-game stretch because you play on Thursday. And on top of that, your quarterback didn't throw a single football in practice this week. Kyle Shanahan said yesterday, Brock Purdy didn't throw a single football. So you saw the trick play that they threw to George Kittle for the first touchdown. They didn't rep that once. They were just like praying it would work. And it worked. It was a good play call. I mean, Kyle Shanahan was innovative. That you haven't seen that since I think 2018. That was the Nick Mullins days when we saw those play calls. So it really, I thought it was a good game, and it showed the 49ers grit. Obviously, the defense plays at the defense level against I'd say an average to a below average offensive line. They had their way. Nick Bosa, Arik Armstead. Shout out to Arik Armstead, who just does a phenomenal job. Underrated always. I know we always talk about Arik Armstead when I come on, but defense did their job. It seemed like at times the Seahawks could climb back. It was a little shaky at times, but whenever the Seahawks had a response, the 49ers responded in a big way. The fumble, the turnovers, and then you had just enough offense to sneak through and win that game.
Yeah, Seattle's always a house of horrors for the 49ers. There's always just weird stuff that happens, special teams, gaffes, just, referees being way too involved like they were yesterday. And you're right. Every time the Niners had something go against them, they would quell it by either coming up with a big hit that forced a turnover or getting a huge stop. Man, I'll tell you, man, I think this is the first time in a long time as a fan, because like I always say, I'm always kind of on the negative side. I always try to psychoanalyze everything and kind of psych myself out of being happy or enjoying the moment. I think last night was the first time where I almost was like expecting the Niners to win. And I did not let anything ruin that mindset, regardless of how the game was starting to transpire. I don't know, that this Purdy kid's got me having some sort of like monumental shift in my perspective because he's so cool. And the fact that he played with a strained oblique, from what I hear, is one of the most painful injuries. I've strained a rib cage muscle. I have pulled a rib cage muscle about 4 or 5 years ago, and you can't breathe. The fact that he could play with that, I have nothing but respect. He earned a lot of respect. They got freaking Deebo Samuel tweeting Brock Purdy and all that on Twitter. This is a special year, man. It's going to be disappointing if the Niners fall short this year because everything is just lining up to have a special run. So I've got to mentally prepared that it might not happen, but at the same time, I'm kind of letting my mind go there. I know you guys probably are too. Crazy.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen, baby. Positive thoughts.
Speak it into existence.
That's right, baby.
I had a couple of broken ribs, and it is no joke, man. It was when I was a little kid, actually, but it was still no joke, man. It's tough to deal with. I know who knows the severity of his, but yeah, it's definitely hard to breathe when something like that happens, for sure.
Sorry, guys. I got to get myself a freaking
moderator.
I've got to get some mods in my chat. I've never done it before. So I'm trying to think. One of the things that I noticed last night that I just had to really talk about is there was a lot of national negativity towards the move to acquire Christian McCaffrey. A lot of people said it was a bad trade, that we overpaid, whatever. You can go on forever about the negativity. That is beyond the shadow of a doubt. I thought the trade for Emmanuel Sanders in 2019 was a fantastic trade. But they haven't lost a game since they acquired him, I don't think. And he just
only the Chiefs game,
only the Chiefs game. Yeah, his first game there. He just does a really good job of keeping the defense honest and having to account for him. Really, we talk about it on stream. We'll be like, well, if they have to account for this guy, it's going to open up things. And we say that, but we never actually see it. We're actually seeing it. It's coming to fruition. It's materializing. Like literally defenses are so conscientious of him that it's keeping other players one-on-one. People bite on a screen and they got Kittle open or Croft wide open. And I've never been this comfortable watching. I was pretty comfortable watching the game last night. I guess I'll start with you, Rich. Like, was it worth the trade?
Oh man, absolutely. And I don't want to use the word ironic, but that was the one day this year so far where I was like, hey, I'm going to shut down for a few days, take a little mental break on everything. It was the day of the CMC trade. I turned all notifications off, turned everything off. I have a neighbor come up to my front porch. He's so excited to come even talk to me. Hey, did you hear the news? Da 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 da. And no, I didn't. We got Christian McCaffrey, and I was like, shut up, man. Are you serious? And I was like, it opened up the floodgates. All the notifications went back on. I was juiced. My spirit was juiced right away. Sometimes, and I try to follow the spirits because sometimes the mind could just mess up a good thing. But to get off that hype, I was just so juiced up that we pulled it off. And now looking back, hey man, we got this guy for 3 years. Hopefully we restructure him. He's young.
26 years old.
He's young. He's dominant. It just feels like a win-win-win. And man, it's like, what can I really say about it? It's just like he just feels like that guy who's, like Bosa. It just feels like he loves the game of football. It feels like the 49ers are continuing to bring in that certain mentality from these guys, the guys who love football, these guys who, are staying out of trouble. It's like, I can't remember, knock on wood. Knock on wood. When was the last time we heard somebody have like, a big ordeal off the field or whatnot? It was we're bringing in these guys with character, and character matters, man. And CMC is one of those guys. We got a gang of dogs on our team. It just feels like it was just, maybe one of the biggest signings in 49er history. I'll say that. And now I look at Deion Sanders. I look at some of these other guys that we brought in, but that was like a rental. That was that 1 year, So this could potentially be one of the biggest signings in franchise history.
What
you think about it, Beto? Think the Niners made the right choice?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm with you, Aaron. I think when in 2019 when we brought in Emmanuel, we needed a veteran receiver inside the roster to kind of get a Debo. Debo was young and going, and that was a great addition. But that was only for that particular season, and then we would have to figure out whether we would re-sign him or not. And the Christian McCaffrey trade, he came to us and he's going to be with us for a while. So yeah, we gave up a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth. But as many thirds that we get, and as badly as we picked in the third round, when we keep getting these running backs that don't work out for us, and we're getting probably another third for for D'Amico Ryans this offseason. Those later rounds are more valuable anyway. So is it worth it? Heck yeah. Like you said, Aaron and guys, the only game we lost was Kansas City, and that's because he was only there, 2 days, a day and a half. Now that he's learned the offense, you can see how important. I mean, he carried the ball 26 times yesterday. They were feeding him. And then I forgot he had like 8 receptions, so he had a total of 32 touches in the game yesterday. My goodness, for 108 yards on the ground. So I just hope they're careful with him. I don't know. I still don't understand the Jordan Mason, why they're not bringing him in sooner. But I love the addition of him. I'm glad we have him. I just hope that we can take care of him because they are feeding him a lot.
Go ahead, Rohan.
Talking about Christian McCaffrey, I don't know if I came on your live stream the night of the McCaffrey trade, but I know there was a lot of scrutiny initially. A lot of people thought, wow, that's a lot to give up for a running back. A lot of people thought McCaffrey is a guy who has injury concerns. The 49ers are a team that is notorious for injury concerns and all the different excuses.
Yep.
But the night of the McCaffrey trade, I was extremely, extremely satisfied with the deal. And this was me thinking in my objective manner. I tried to break it down initially. Looking at the McCaffrey trade, what did we give up? Well, we gave up second, third, fourth, and a 2024 fifth. However, when you look at the big landscape of things, Beto just broke it down a little bit. when you look at the big landscape of things, it's not that much draft capital when you look at the amount of draft capital the 49ers have. San Francisco is still slated to have 9 draft picks in this draft upcoming, with several third-round picks if the compensatory pick, as expected, should come for DeMeco Ryans. And also, you're going to likely get a compensatory pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, who will likely go elsewhere in free agency with where the money goes. And so that's 2 third-rounders that you're likely to get on top of the initial draft capital that you get. Now, 2024, you're going to continue to get that second, third-round pick for DeMeco Ryans. You're still insulated with draft capital. It's not like you're losing out on draft capital. I think the 49ers have 8 picks when you involve if that compensatory pick comes along. They still are insulated enough in the draft. And then you talk about the impact. First of all, McCaffrey was only going to make $600,000 this year. That's a bargain of a deal. Then when you look at the contract for the next 3 years, it's 3 years, $36 million essentially, because Carolina covers the signing bonus. So it's 3 years, $36 million. That's going to get restructured in the offseason, which means the 49ers can create caps flexibility in 2023 to for whatever moves they want to make, and understand that the cap is going to exponentially increase with the new TV deal to where they can shoulder the load for McCaffrey's deal throughout the remainder of his prime. The final piece, the most important piece, his play on the football field. It was clear at the moment of the McCaffrey trade that the 49ers had a very deteriorating rushing attack. When you look at it, Jeff Wilson might have been averaging 5.2 yards per carry, but when you extrapolate the actual yards per carry in terms of the amount of big plays, they came on 40-yard runs, 37-yard runs, 34-yard runs based on great offensive line play. When you take that out, it's under 4 yards per carry, and on weeks it was under 3 yards per carry. Why? The running game was one-dimensional. There's only one guy who could only run between the tackles, didn't have the speed to hit the outside. When you have Christian McCaffrey, you get that 2-dimensional rushing attack. That's why it was so nice to see him with Elijah Mitchell at the time, and that's why him not only in 2022 but for the future was going to be a good move. The dividends are paying off, and even more than people expected at this moment.
Can I ask you? Oh,
bang,
go ahead,
bang.
Rich.
Now, I just wanted to say bang bang to everything Rohan said. That's it.
Rohan's on it, man. Rohan, what's your take? Because I saw somebody in the comments. I think it's G-Rod. He said, you know, you run a running back that hard in one game. You're looking at to get them hurt or shorten the lifespan due to all the physical shots. That is one question, and Beto actually brought it up too. Like, I kind of see what they're doing. They're kind of going first half, second half thing, where Mason's essentially a closer. He comes in, runs the clock down, bruises the defense, tires them out. We go home. I don't understand, and I'm not going to try to. One thing I tweeted last night is enjoy the moment. Stop freaking overanalyzing everything. Let's just live in today. But the one thing I will say is I would love to see a little bit more variety as far as having just McCaffrey run it all in the first 3 quarters and then only seeing Mason. I would love to see an intermix, a little bit of a thunder and lightning. But we know, as well as, I mean, all of us fans know that when Shanahan gets something that he likes and it works, he stays with it. And sometimes that means guys get driven into the ground. What was your take, Rohan, on just what's your feeling on why they are kind of just stuck with this formula of only having 3, like having him run the first 3 quarters and only having Mason come in, say, at the end of the game?
Yeah. I mean, when we talk about it, it's a very complicated situation for sure. Because when we came into when the McCaffrey train came to fruition, the belief was obviously with Elijah Mitchell, you'd be able to split the carries. You'd be able to see a nice decrease in the load of McCaffrey while maximizing his efficiency by putting him on a good amount of routes, by putting him in different packages that maximizes value. I personally thought his biggest talent was the receiving talent. I know it would have definitely increased the efficiency of the running game, but the receiving talent out of the backfield is something San Francisco has never had in the Shanahan era, and something that he really has wanted. You've seen routes for running backs that running backs have directly dropped the ball. JaMychal Hasty comes to mind on a couple of those plays. And to me, the reasoning I think behind it is, at least from Shanahan's perspective, you want all your chips on the table. You want your best players to be on the field, but not only that, you want to put your players in the best position to succeed. Brock Purdy definitely benefits from having Christian McCaffrey in the receiving game. Not because McCaffrey will get 10 targets, but more because McCaffrey attracts so much attention. The reason George Kittle gets that touchdown is because they crash on McCaffrey. The reason that some of those bigger plays originate, George Kittle's second touchdown, they crashed on McCaffrey as well. It's because just the impact that he has out there. Now, would you like to see that load minimized? Yes. I do think that what Mason's development, the biggest thing will be how much of a pass catcher can he become. With Mitchell, I thought we saw a clear, nice 1-2 combo where Mitchell would get 15, 18 carries at times. I think there was a game where he had 18 carries and 94 yards, and people were like, why are you not playing Christian McCaffrey? I think Mitchell and CMC is going to be the combo that the 49ers fans are looking for, because Mitchell at least brings something as well in the receiving game that we have yet to see from Mason. We can't see practice. We don't know how he's performing in that part, but seems like Mitchell probably has the edge to where the 49ers are more comfortable. I would, though, like to see more carries for Mitchell for the sole purpose of let's not minimize, but manage the workload of McCaffrey going into the playoffs.
At one point, I did want to talk about on G-Rod's comment, if that's who it was.
Yeah.
I feel like Christian McCaffrey does the best job I've seen as a 49er running back so far protecting himself. I feel like he has a very good way of just knowing kind of like he goes super hard, but then he finds a way on how to squeak through certain things and get down. Or like it's almost like he knows how to fall the right way. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but
Yeah, he avoids the big hit. I've noticed.
Yeah. So that's just something I just wanted to touch on real quick when it comes to McCaffrey. And hey, what a good problem to have. If that's the biggest thing we can nitpick on was, hey, give Mason more carries. Hey man, it's a joy to watch CMC continue to be fed. So hey, play your best. Hey man, this is football. At the beginning, middle, and end of the day, this is football. I feel like you say, Aaron, it feels like sometimes we try to dissect this thing to every little degree to where it almost takes away from the heart of the game. And this is
enjoy the moment that you're living in, man.
This is a
super talented team.
This is the most physical sport, in the world, man. It's like kind of go hard or go home, go hard in the paint, just all those things. It's like, let's go, so keep running CMC, but it's almost contradictory because I would like to see a little bit more Mason at the same time, but I enjoy seeing CMC.
I just want to say thanks to Luke Luna, long time contributor, commenter, follower of the channel. I don't see him as much anymore. He is a really, really good tattoo artist. So if you guys, I have him on Facebook. He's real good. So he's pretty busy all the time. So thanks for coming through. Thanks for the $2 super. He made a comment though. Two of his comments that Luke made. One was, the Niners don't want to tip their hand by, showing that, they're bringing, Mason in, and it kind of tips the hand of what they're going to do on defense, or on offense. But at the same time, let's see if I can find this comment here. But he says it, but I don't care if it tips plays. Mason will have success regardless. Put him in. We need CMC down the stretch. My whole thing is like, it's a meritocracy. It's all about the people that give you the best chance to win, even if they're an undrafted quarterback, even if they're an undrafted running back. It's a meritocracy. At the end of the day, you want your best players on the field because you're trying to get a championship. And if your first round player is getting outplayed by your 7th round player, tough titty. Too bad. It doesn't matter. And I don't care. Sometimes listen, there's a lot of people trying to still push narratives on Twitter. I don't know if you guys notice it. Some people are trying to push this Mac Jones trash about that's why the Niners wanted to go after Mac Jones. And I'm just like, why are we talking about that? Or they're still dogging Trey Lance. And I'm like, yo, listen, does it matter at this point? We're a division champ and we're in the playoffs and we still have 3 games to go. We could technically get the number 2 seed out of this. So everybody shut up. Stop overcomplicating. Stop overthinking. I'm teaching myself to live in the moment because I'm always psychoanalyzing. But I've been watching people lately do it, like psychoanalyze everything. And now I understand why people come at me the way they do and are like, dude, why are you worried about that right now? And so I tell everybody, just relax, enjoy what's going on right now because This is a special team with special players, and I can't wait. I can't wait till the Commanders game. I'm not even playing.
Dude, I hear you about just taking the moment and enjoying it. People are already starting to talk about controversy between Brock and Trey. It's like, dude, you know how much conversation for content creators are going to have this offseason anyway?
Yeah.
Why not save it until then? Use what's going on today as a content creator and save that later for conversation, because then we have nothing happening in the offseason. People want to talk about it today. Enjoy Brock. He's playing good. We don't know how far we're going to go with him, but as far as we go, let's enjoy the ride, man. And then we'll deal about the offseason when it comes. And we're going to get there no matter what. But people getting within their emotions, and then right away trade this and let's trade Trey. And I'm like, nobody's going to give you the capital that you give up for Trey without actually giving Trey an opportunity. And so it's just funny how people get very emotional and in their feelings. And if we're winning, we feel this. Like they blame the whole Debo getting hurt on Kyle. It wasn't an inside run. The Debo went inside, but it was an outside run that Debo chose to go in. Kyle had no control over that. So it's just people calm down, enjoy the game. Debo's coming back, and we're going to have a great postseason, and we're in the dance, baby. That's the bottom end.
That's right.
I got a confession. I got a confession, man, because I kind of use it this season for me, content creation, or I don't know. Sometimes I label myself that, but sometimes I'm just a guy who talks sports, man. I love my team, and they provide the content. I just talk about it. But my little confession is, seeing Trey Lance go down. I'm over here like, man, it's all your fault, Kyle. I freaking don't like you, Kyle. Man, I want you freaking fired, this and that and the other. And I didn't necessarily mean fire Kyle, but it was more just like, man, please do better. And now when the Debo thing happened, I was completely changed. Some people could view me as contradictory, or maybe I'm fishing for this or that, but I transformed. I
You got wiser, baby. Nothing
I
wrong with that.
continue, and I'm never gonna stop. I mean, this is a day-to-day thing, a week-to-week thing. I continue. Hey, if I make a mistake, I reflect, try to correct, and move on, and just continue that process. I'm always doing it. So, it is what it is. And then at the same time, I try to not be like, oh, this guy's negative. This guy's this. I'm just like, hey, it ain't none of my business. My business is what I'm doing, what I can control, and that's about it. If anybody else chooses to do what they do, and I still bite the hook, and I might,
we all do.
But at the beginning, middle, and end of the day, it's like, hey, everybody is their each individual, and I try to say, I ain't trying to tell anybody to do what they do because we're all different, but hey, let's enjoy it. And if you don't want to, maybe your enjoyment is, being, whether it's cynical or pessimistic, but hey, we're all different at the beat. But, it feels like we all love the 49ers, so it would be nice to see majority of us come together and root the same way,
I agree. And unfortunately, there is going to be something next year, but I don't think it's a negative. I think it's a positive. We can honestly say that we can move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, and we could have two good quarterbacks. I think the fact that what we're seeing with Purdy, that's going to push Trey Lance in camp huge.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's I'm looking at this from like, Trey's going to be like, yo, this mother bleeper is a 7th rounder, and he's out playing me with a noodle arm, and I got a cannon.
This man's out
With
here
a noodle arm.
This man's out here looking, pulling mini Mahomes, looking like a young Russell Wilson.
Like a little tiny version of Mahomes. Like if you went into the game and you went for mini mode and you made him as small as you could possibly be, that's what you got. Rohan, you agree on that sentiment that it's a good situation to have?
100%. I mean, when you talk about 49er fans, they've been crying over a topic that I think is a very interesting topic that really only applies to us. The topic is backup quarterbacks. Look at every team in the NFL, every successful team, every playoff team. There has been one success story in 2017 when Nick Foles was the backup. Apart from that, Patrick Mahomes has Chad Henne as his backup. That's not a top 40 quarterback in the NFL. I think, I forget, I think it's Matt Barkley over there in Buffalo behind Josh Allen. Jordan Love might be, I mean, for Aaron Rodgers, but they're not even that great of a team. Sean Mannion is the backup for Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. Behind Jalen Hurts, who is it, Gardner Minshew maybe, is the backup over there in Philadelphia. When you talk about it, the whole point I'm bringing up, these are top 32 quarterbacks. It's not the backup quarterback position. It's become a little more important given that some quarterbacks have suffered some season-ending injuries. It's become a little more important, especially when you're developing younger quarterbacks to get a veteran in the room. But the backup quarterback position has become overstated by 49er fans. And this year they did exactly what everybody wanted. They brought in 2 top 32 quarterbacks by keeping Jimmy Garoppolo. And now you have a hidden gem in Brock Purdy. I think competition is very important. Competition brings out the best in two people. And I think that's exactly what Trey Lance needed. In my opinion, this offseason, he had no competition. It's not that he was handed the starting job, but there was no competition. Nate Sudfeld was in competition. Brock Purdy looked different, way different than he did now in training camp. And so there was no really competition. I think competition will help Trey Lance because you can grow from your mistakes. You can help you. The locker room over there is bonded very well. The quarterbacks learn from each other. I think that's going to be big. And regardless of how the situation goes, who knows? This is the 49ers. They could bring in somebody completely new. Tom Brady could be a 49er next year for all we know. But regardless, I like what the 49ers are doing at the quarterback position right now. And it seems like they're well insulated right now for the future, whoever it may be.
You did make me think of Cooper Rush in Dallas, but I don't think that's maybe the closest one where Cooper Rush
and
actually
even Cooper
did
Rush
come in.
didn't play well. The team went 4-1. He was in my opinion, a backup level quarterback. That team rode on the defense, similar to how the 49ers have ridden in years past with backup quarterbacks.
And then, but then you also made me think about how Brock Purdy looks even more comfortable than Dak Prescott. Like, Dak Prescott is some players, they might put up a lot of stats and it might look real good, but I still see uncomfortable. It looks like what? How am I trying to say? Like someone
Josh Allen has that same look in pressure situations.
Someone could be doing the same exact job, and then just one person makes it look easy, and the next it's like, man, why are you struggling so hard? It's just kind of regardless of stats and wins and all that. It just Dak Prescott to me, it looks all. I put a tweet a few days ago where it's like I feel like Brock Purdy is the one guy since Steve Young where. And I talked about Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Trey Lance. Brock Purdy seems like the only guy from all those guys who doesn't have the nerves, it doesn't look forced. It doesn't look skittish. It doesn't look scared. And it's almost unbelievable to say that when it's coming from Mr. Irrelevant, and it's just so freaking cool. I'll just leave it at that.
They had from what I'd heard, the Niners had a pretty decent grade on him. Was it this year or the prior year? I forget. I forget where I was hearing it. Yeah.
I think they had a high grade. I mean, I had a higher grade. I didn't think he was a 7th. I thought it was interesting this year with the amount of depth quarterbacks slid, especially because they aren't top caliber quarterbacks. I thought he was probably a 4th, 5th, but they went as they went.
Good for us.
And he's got a freaking he's got a stick in his rear end being called Mr. Irrelevant. You could tell it bothers him. Oh, yeah. No question. And his whole career that's going to follow him for good or for bad. I do think there will be a leveling off at some point with him, as with every quarterback. Teams will figure out a way to get to him, but doesn't seem like it phases him too much. And if you watch a lot of great content creators that we have out there who break down film, it's not like a flash in the pan. They're like they're breaking down how when you see stuff with Brock, it's not just a matter of luck or the defense biting or this or that. He's actually making those plays, those reads. He's waiting. He's not skittish in the pocket like Jimmy with the feet. That's the one thing I was telling my brother last night. I was like, the difference between the two of these guys is one guy looks so damn uncomfortable in the pocket, right? Craters when there's any physicality around him. And the other guy's like this little munchkin that anytime someone's near him, he acclimates himself, kind of resets himself in the pocket to have a different throwing platform. And he's always in a position to make a throw downfield. And to me, I equated him, I tweeted the other day, I think it was the day, the Bucks game. He gives me a little bit of a Jeff Garcia vibe. small, undersized, forgotten, not a huge arm, but gigantic balls, figuratively and I don't know, literally maybe, I don't know. They gave him that other nickname. So, but
Big heart.
He's
that
not as
dude,
mobile though as Garcia.
no, Garcia was a different level of mobility, but this guy is effective mobility. When you watch him and Garoppolo, it's like, oh my God, Garoppolo doesn't move. He literally, some of the hits that Garoppolo takes could be avoided if he would just move his ass out of the pocket once in a while.
One thing,
I'm not going to defend Garoppolo because I'm not a Garoppolo fan. But when Garoppolo came in 2017, he was his mobility was greater.
Yeah.
Whenever you have a major injury, I hate to say it, psychologically it messes with you. So the good thing for Brock hasn't got hurt yet, and we don't want to. So he hasn't really experienced that. So he's just like when you're 20 years old, you're riding a motorcycle, you're riding it crazy. You don't care. You get my age and you're like, let's slow it down. You know what I mean? So that could take place, but I do like the elusiveness of Brock. I do love the decision making of Brock. It says it takes about 4 games for a defensive coordinator to kind of figure out the tendencies of a quarterback, what he likes to do, what he doesn't like to do. And 2 times Brock did get bailed out. One by one interception that was called back, and the other one was dropped on Sunday. Yesterday, excuse me, against the Seahawks that could have hurt Brock. But as long as this continued to happen, he continued to figure it out. He won't make the same mistake again. And it seems to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that once Brock gets the feel of the game, he starts getting better and better as the game goes. He kind of has to like merge himself into the game. So I like this kid. The talent is there, definitely. The charisma is there, the hunger, it's like a Chihuahua that wants to fight a pit bull, right? The Chihuahua doesn't know any better, but all he knows is I have heart. I might get killed, but I have heart and I'm going to fight. This kid has heart. He's fought through a lot. 7th round pick, Mr. Relevant. All these things are just fuel that are going to continue to fuel. And if there is a team that you can come in as a 7th rounder, is the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan and this freaking defense and run game that we have. So it's a perfect match. Let's see how far we can go with both this team and this quarterback. I'm excited. I'm more excited today than I was when Jimmy was playing. I'm sorry.
One thing I want to touch
100%.
on, absolutely, Beto, to everything. And I want to talk about the dogs in a minute too, man, because I got a prime example with my dogs, exactly what you were talking about. But I wanted to talk about the teams catching up to Purdy, man, and then the film. I'm watching Baldy's breakdown, and there's nothing you could do with certain players, no matter how much film you watch. I mean, he trips over 2 rookies. They trip over each other. He hits the ground. I looked at that, and I was thinking, I was watching Jimmy. Like, Jimmy would have never got back up. He would have made sure to hold the ball, stay there. Purdy gets back up, runs out, and with guys – he's still, even as he's jogging kind of out, he looks calm and cool. He's like, I'm about to get hit. I'm going to just flip out a no-look pass. Like, it ain't nothing to Ray McCloud. You cannot game plan versus that.
Oh.
When you're a rookie doing little things, when you're tripping, falling, getting up, improvising, no looking, like, I mean, my God.
Listen real quick. I just want to throw this in real quick. The 2 plays by Brock. The one when he ran for the first down where his knee slid, but he had the awareness to have the ball extended out.
Yep.
That's a pro. Not only that, but remember when it was 4th and 7 and they were came in to go for it, and he got the Seahawks to jump offsides. That's a vet move from a rookie quarterback.
Yep.
What he did right there was a vet move from a rookie quarterback. They went up punting at 4-2, but the point is he got that defensive end to jump, and I love that about Brock. This kid is playing at a different level, man, for being a rookie.
Man, he is not a rookie. I don't care what nobody says. He ain't Mr. Irrelevant. He ain't a rookie. Man, I was yesterday, I was like, man, this is Peter Parker right here. I feel like he just got he kind of got the baby face. He's maybe a nerd. He's telling the offensive lineman, I ain't playing no poker because I'm playing.
Easy with the nerds, bro. Don't be offended.
This is more Bully McGuire, though. This is more the bully version.
He's like, look, I'm up in my room. I'm studying. Leave me alone. When we're on the field, get your ass on, get on your P's and Q's. It's game time. It's go time. I'm coming to score touchdowns and points. Let's go. You know, it just reminds me like, you know, he could he has the look of like that Clark Kent, like, oh yeah, he won't do nothing. You know, he probably hasn't even got a razor yet, but this man, he gets on the field and it's a different story.
All right, I would love to keep talking about the offense, but we got to give some praise to this D.
Yee.
You know, it's weird. I don't, like I've said before, I don't usually watch football games and have like a predetermined mindset about like how good my team is or yeah, we're going to smoke these fools, any of that kind of stuff, but there wasn't a doubt in my mind that this Niners defense would come up time and time again to make plays yesterday. And I don't even know where to start. I guess we could start with Dre freaking Greenlaw. I'm going to say this, and I said this on the NWO stream on Monday. Right now, as we speak, Dre Greenlaw is playing better than Fred Warner. He is a better linebacker.
Oh,
I think
wow.
he's the best linebacker in the NFL at this moment, right now. I'm not saying as a whole. I'm not saying 2 years from now. I'm talking about within this, what they call it, a hyperbole or this just whatever we're living in right now, however long he's been these last, I don't know, four or five games, he's playing at a level that I mean, damn, he looks like freaking Willis and Bowman out there. Rohan, what's your thoughts on that? I know you're going to disagree.
Pause a little bit on that. I'll pause
Okay.
a little bit on that. I do think Fred Warner is still the best player. I can definitely understand an argument for Greenlaw. Greenlaw just flat out makes more splashy plays, right? I think in the last 5 games, he's been on some end of a turnover. He's either created an interception, created a forced fumble, or recovered a forced fumble. He's a guy who's just there. He makes plays, and that's what you want from linebackers. I think Fred Warner, his efforts do go unnoticed a lot. I think the last 2 games are really indicative of Fred Warner. Late in the season, you understand defense's tendencies. Offenses try and attack where the defense is weakest at. Geno Smith, I think, threw 1 pass over the middle of the field yesterday. 1 pass. Why? Because you've got Fred Warner there. And this is also mentioning Tyler Lockett, a guy who likes to operate over the middle of the field, a guy in the slot. But DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, no catch. I think the only one was the touchdown on the busted coverage, which we'll get to in a little bit. But overall, I thought it was a great play from Fred Warner. His ability in coverage is unmatched in the NFL. There's a reason why a lot of teams might start trying to look for these specific linebackers. The prototypical linebacker, run stopping, gap fitting linebacker might not be the guy anymore. It might be these athletic freaks who might try and who can help out in coverage. There have been a lot of underrated linebackers in my mind this year. Philadelphia has 2 of them. Those are 2 key reasons why everybody in Philly talks about the D-line, cornerbacks. But those 2 linebackers there, TJ Edwards, Kaiser White, I believe, they've had a hell of a year. But in my opinion, I think that there's a good argument that you could say both all-pros should go to the 2 linebackers on San Francisco's roster. Dre Greenlaw has had a hell of a year. He's had his, really, I think he's had 1 bad game. Chicago, week 1. Got an extension before week 2, has been balling out since week 2. Just a phenomenal year. And this was, you were expecting Azeez Shire to really pop out, but Greenlaw comes back from the groin injury that hampered him all year last year, and now is playing at that all-pro level. And the 49ers, John Lynch is looking like an amazing GM. Imagine locking him up at the key moment. $10 million. I think they're paying him $9.5 million for Dre Greenlaw right now is seeming very cheap. It's seeming very cheap. And so you got probably, at least in my opinion, 2 of the best linebackers in the NFL. That's crazy to say it, especially given the 49ers expertise at every other level. But shout out to Dre Greenlaw. I said Fred Warner is the best right now. I do agree. I do believe that. But shout out to Dre Greenlaw. Agree with what you said, Aaron.
Yeah, I like Fred Warner as the quarterback, having that dot on the helmet, being the quarterback and putting Greenlaw in that position to be what he is. I love it. But hey, they're both on our team. We can't forget about Azeez. He's quieter, but he's doing his thing there too. We have arguably the best trio of linebackers in the NFL for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah,
go ahead.
My opinion of Greenlaw, I've been comparing him to Draymond Green for quite a while, and you could just see his game elevating, and that's because of Fred Warner. Fred Warner, like Beto just mentioned, is the quarterback on the defense. And that tandem together is beautiful. I think sometimes I've also talked about Fred Warner, not getting enough recognition when stats don't pop out on the film. It reminds me of Eric Armstead. The first game he came back, Nick Bosa is getting, he gets 3 sacks, sack, fumble. So sometimes it doesn't come up on the stats, especially, Fred Warner is better in coverage, and like Rohan said, probably one of the better cover linebackers in the NFL. So I think sometimes it's not always going to be flashy or pop out on the film. But the way I'm looking at both of them in this moment is 1A and 1B. Hey, they should both be in consideration for All Pro. Real talk, So it's just awesome, awesome.
I think maybe I live. Sometimes I get a little bit overexcited, and I'll make a proclamation. I'll just say this, and
It's okay, bro. It's okay.
I haven't been real positive over the last. He just brings an attitude, an edge,
intensity.
He plays up to that line. Sometimes he goes past that line. I think as a defense or in sports in general, you need a couple bad guys on your team that are willing to take the hit for being maybe a little bit of a dirty player or someone that kind of plays to the whistle or a little bit through it. I like having teams fear us. I like having, Drake, when you watch a player like Geno Smith, that dude looked shell shocked yesterday. Other than that touchdown he got at the end, which I think, they shouldn't have never. I know, whatever. But I'm just saying,
he was for a stuffed animal to hold on to.
He was looking. Wow, dude. We had Tom Brady shook the week before, and Tom Brady, nobody shakes him. So, I just think that he's a great player to have as your like you said, like a Draymond Green, your Dennis Rodman. They don't care. They don't care if they're liked. Their whole point is to destroy, like a Terminator. You know what I mean? His whole sole purpose is to hit people until they want to quit. That hit last night, that forced fumble, I saw it coming, and I'm like, that's Greenlaw. Like, I literally, a split second before he whacked him, I see him come in, and of course, without even a shadow of a doubt, that ball goes popping into the air, and I was just like, wow. So I'm over the moon with him. You're right. Warner is the best out of the group. The Greenlaw ain't no slouch. And as far as Aziz, I don't think he's just been on the field as much this year. I don't know if Rohan, do you have any input on is he been on the field a lot less this year, Aziz, according to, because I said this on Monday's stream with the guys, and they said that because he hasn't played as much, or maybe he hasn't as much exposure, that he might be able to be retained, because a lot of people are saying he's not going to be retained and he's going to go. I told my brother, he's like, yeah, bring him to Miami. I don't care. Like,
yeah, I mean, Aziz, it's an interesting case, right? He had the big injury. He had the MCL sprain, suffered, I believe, in Denver week 3. And that MCL sprain carried on. He only came back in week 10 against the Chargers. To me, I think Aziz Al-Shire, 2 things. One, 49ers' propensity for playing in the nickel. They don't want to play in the base as much. I think they're more versatile in the nickel. They are able to do more things because they've got a piece in Fred Warner, who is essentially he's a cornerback playing in the middle of the field. He is a third safety for the 49ers because he can cover that intermediate depth of the field. When you place more defensive backs on the field, I think the 49ers just can operate out of different packages. For example, without Aziz Al-Shire, the guy who's on the field a lot more is Jimmy Ward. And Jimmy Ward, I like the mantra, play your best players on the field. Jimmy Ward is unquestionably one of the 49ers' best players, and I'll give him some love in a little bit because he's had a hell of the last 2-3 games. Jimmy Ward has been lights out. He's been phenomenal in the slot. But I'd prefer you play Jimmy Ward over a third linebacker because Ward has the ability to do what a linebacker does. He's stout in run defense, probably one of the best run defending safeties in the NFL, but he's also good in coverage. He's a better coverage. He's essentially a coverage linebacker, but a better coverage linebacker because he's quicker, better technique in coverage in general, and he's able to shut down receivers out of the slot. So I think that's the reason why the 49ers have normally leaned towards playing 2 linebackers. And the question is, would you rather have 3 safeties on the field or would you rather have 3 linebackers? I think in today's day and age, the passing offenses, limiting the explosive plays, having more cover 2 shells, cover 3 shells. I think it's a little better to probably play with 3 safeties, at least with the 49ers personnel. And so I think that's the reason Aziz hasn't gotten more time. I want to hear the rest of the guys' thoughts, though, on potentially bringing him back this year or next year.
I'd totally be down with it.
It's just so cool how universal our defense is, man. It's like whatever you throw at us, we got to answer for it. Someone goes down, there's that they're not stepping in, they're stepping out. And what I mean by that is our guys are just standing out, man. They ain't coming to be a backup. They are coming. They know what time it is. They know this team is on a mission. And yeah, man. Let's get Aziz back. It's a business. It's kind of hard for me to talk about politics of the game, but who knows? Maybe they are doing that with Aziz. And if it favors the 49ers, hey, so be it. Let's do it. Let's get it. I'm just super juiced up. I could name every single one of the people on this defense and say something good about them. It's like I say this in the best way. Who is the worst player on defense? It's probably one of the defensive tackles that are backups, but even those guys are playing extremely well for who they are. There was a few people that came at me a while back. Oh yeah, those guys aren't playing good. I'm like, bro, they're backups, man. Like they are holding it down. We still don't have a 100-yard rusher versus us. Like, yes, we are bending, but we ain't breaking. I don't care about the third downs on the short runs. Hey, we're bending. We ain't breaking though. And for us to be able to accomplish this on defense without Mosley, Barrett goes down. Limited games with Eric Armstead. We got Tayshaun Gibson steps in the beginning of the year, and he's playing fluidly. It's
Picking off
just,
Tom Brady.
it's just, oh my God, Hufanga runs a 4.6. Okay, Jerry Rice did too. Oh my God, well, he keeps getting beat once a game, but he's also making 5 great plays a game.
Yep.
We're never going to be perfect. We could dissect it till our freaking face, falls apart, but this defense ain't playing no games. It's each man is stepping up, doing their job. There's not one part you could single out on defense and say, hey, like an offensive coordinator is not like, all right, we're going to go eat over here today. It just feels like there are no weak links, and it's so freaking cool to see.
East Coast Red and Gold podcast says DK is still missing because of Mooney's coverage. Yo, I want to hear Beto's opinion on Aziz, and then I was going to move on to some of the other players.
No, you go ahead and move on. You guys have pretty much covered everything to say about Aziz. I love him. I love his play. Hopefully we can retain him. I know even though he hasn't played much, he's still going to be a high demand.
He's still a really good player.
He'll test his waters out there, and good for him. Listen, I don't want to lose him, but I believe in every player getting their bag, and whether it's here or somewhere else. But hopefully he'll stay. I'm looking forward to keeping him. But if he gets his bag, I just hope he goes in a good situation. But I'm happy with Greenlaw and Fred Warner for sure.
You look.
Move on to the next topic, right? That's all I wanted to say.
I was going to say, we have so many mid-round picks now. So the Niners, between the 3rd and the 5th, they could get another linebacker. We got McCrary Ball that no one's talking about, who could essentially fill the role next year. I think he was a safety that was converted to a linebacker, if I'm not mistaken. Right,
yep.
Rohan?
Yep.
So the Niners are always thinking ahead. Listen, man, nobody really talks about this, but Adam Peters and John Lynch, for every miss the Niners have as far as talent evaluation, they got 3 hits. You know what I mean? For every 1 miss, there's 3 guys that we freaking nailed. I mean, Hufanga, Greenlaw,
and these are all later picks, right? That's our bread and butter.
Warner was a 3rd-round pick, I think.
That's our bread and butter.
Kittle
man.
was a 5th-round pick. Juwan Jennings was a 7th-round pick. Listen, man.
Let's go.
I think we're at this point now where the Niners have one of the best rosters, if not the best roster in the NFL. Do they have the best quarterback? No. Do they have the best wide receiver, top guy? No. But as a whole, as a collective, they're fantastic. That's the one thing. When one guy goes down, I'm super confident. Hell, we even possibly have Kinlaw coming back. Now, I don't really get too excited about him because he just
projected to come back from practice.
Projected to practice. To me, right now, he's pro bono. If he comes back, he's just extra because the Niners have already proven that. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Nah, the one word I will say, I I could be wrong. The one word I will say on Javon Kinlaw, the Niners must feel pretty optimistic at the moment on Kinlaw, because if they're going to designate him to return, that's a big sign. Because remember, they have to be very careful with their designated to returns. Hassan Ridgeway is essentially done for the year because he was placed on IR. They don't have enough spots to bring him back if they're going to bring back him and Elijah Mitchell, him being Javon Kinlaw. So I'm assuming they're probably they've taken it slow, right? He probably could have came back maybe a couple weeks ago if they wanted to rush it, but taking it slow. Don't know if he'd play in a regular season game. He might only suit up for the playoffs, use the 3 weeks for the practice window. But I'd have to say they're pretty optimistic with the way that they've stuck to this timeline as of late. Listen to the conference call last week. Shanahan said he'd practice this week or end up practicing after this game. He said it again today, I believe.
Yeah,
I
Luke
think
Luna
it's gonna
says
bring-
Kinlaw slow ram up for the playoffs. That's pretty much what you were saying. I wouldn't go ahead, Beto.
No, I was just gonna say that Rohan's right. They can only bring 2 more players back from IR, and so they want to be very careful how they utilize that. And so I totally agree with Rohan on how they're just kind of keep an eye on him. And the way our defensive line is playing right now, we don't need to rush him. And we can kind of just keep an eye on him and just bring him in. If we bring him in for the playoffs, and he stays healthy just for the playoffs, that'll be good.
G9 Garage says GM and Coach of the Year runnings for sure. Executive as well. Yeah, the Niners as a whole, front office to coaching, have been fantastic this year. You could even say the addition of a real quarterback, even though he never had experience coaching, the addition of Brian Greasy and of Clay Kubiak, the son of Gary Kubiak, you actually have someone that played the damn position, unlike Scangarello, whoever, all the scrubs that were here before. Like, these guys actually played the position, and I think it shows. I mean, even Garoppolo, say what you want, say what I want. Not a big fan of the dude, big deal, or big surprise. I mean, everybody knows that, but he played well too. And it maybe, hell, I didn't know. Maybe having a quarterback coach who actually knows what he's doing or has played the sport might actually have an impact on what a player can do, what they're looking at. He's seen everything that he's seen. So that's a big thing. So yeah, executives, coaches, if there's ever a year that the Niners should win a Super Bowl, it would be this year. It just feels like the perfect storm in every sense of the word. Don't know if it's going to happen. Hope it does. Right now, like I said, I'm just living in today, in the moment, for as long as this thing lasts, because man, this has been amazing. I remember me and Rohan picked who would win, who would lose with some of our picks. I picked us to lose to Miami. I think you picked us to lose to Miami. I think you picked us to lose to the Bucs too.
I thought we'd win on Miami and then lose to the Bucs.
Okay.
I picked this one as the potential trap game, but we'd win this one.
Yeah, it's been weird because it's hard to know, because early on in the season, this team was so inconsistent. You never knew who we were going to get from game to game. And then now you're looking back and there's going to be people that are going to have revisionist history being like, yeah, that's what I said from the beginning. Whatever, dude. Nobody knows. Yeah, this team, I mean, was following suit like usual, players dropping like flies, underperforming against teams we should have beat. It kind of has been the MO a little bit sometimes under the Shanahan regime. And then you get McCaffrey, we lose to the Chiefs. I mean, we got boat race, whatever. And then it's just been, the arrow's been pointing up and the defense has played out of their mind. And then to have a third string quarterback come in who nobody knew about, nobody gave two, S's about. And now he looks like the second coming of, I don't know, Joe Montana or Steve Young or whatever. It's to me, whatever happens, it's all positive for me. But I don't think I've watched a Niners game in a long time, like last night, where I had the utmost confidence that we were going to win and figure out a way to pull it off. I don't think I haven't been I wasn't like that through the 2019 season, but for some reason, Purdy, this defense, the combination of it, the coaches, I've never been this confident in my life. So it's good times. I mean, we could talk about Mooney Ward before he got the concussion last night, how great he was looking. Whoever wants to go on that. I mean, he had a rough game against Kansas City, but who didn't, Rich?
Yeah, man, I love to see. I did a live play by play. It was me and Brandon from Forever Faithful podcast, but I just remember telling him a few times, like, "Oh, hey, this is football. This is the football I remember." Just watching them go back and forth. It reminded me of had little flashbacks to Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders back in the day. I know these players aren't the caliber, the same caliber players like them, but it just had that football feel. You just see these guys going after it and just what another amazing addition with Mooney Ward. I was preaching all off season long that, the 24 or the past 27 Super Bowl winning teams had a Pro Bowler in the secondary. And it feels like we arguably might have one in Hufunga and Kavarius Ward. Jimmy Ward is a straight dog, hearing those comments a couple weeks back about, hey, I want them to feel me. And it feels like, man, we just got dogs. Every other player, almost every player. It's just we got dogs, we got talent, we got depth, and it's just amazing. I feel like if I'm talking about one guy, well, I just want to talk about the whole team, man, because I'm just juiced up. I'm excited. It's fun. Mooney Ward, great addition. Lenore, how about Lenore elevating his game?
Wow.
What happened to Ambry Thomas? I don't know, but I guess that says a lot about Ambry sliding Jackrabbit in there. But that's a different discussion. It just feels like, yeah, man, everybody is bought in. There's a lot of heart. Everybody's, contributing to the ultimate goal.
I think with Emery Thomas we've been playing a lot of zone compared to man to man. I think Emery Thomas is a little bit more fitted for the man to man, and Lenore can play more of what we're doing. But I love what Lenore did. I'm still disgusted with that interception pick 6 to Lenore that was called back from
I
my
know.
stupid call. And this is not me being biased or me being a Niner fan or whatever. That call on freaking Bosa was not. I mean, what is Bosa supposed to do? Give me a break. He was, it was robbed, and it's just. But like everyone said earlier, it's all about Vegas keeping people tuned into a closer game than a freaking blowout. So I wish Lenore would have got that. That would have been continued to build his momentum and to build his, going forward.
I do want to say, hey, just give these players like big fines, quit. But it feels like I've been preaching this for a couple years, man. These players are making beautiful football plays, and these are stats being taken off of their resumes, which equals, big millions of dollars being taken off of their contracts for beautiful football execution. Like, man, like, and it feels like they have their hand in the game. Now they're talking about they possibly might start suspending people or just kicking them out of games on certain things. And it's like, man, how much more control do they need? Can y'all just, fine them heftily, leave, take your hand out of the game to where you're altering the games, man. And it feels like they have to have that kind of control. And it's just unfortunate. But yeah, beautiful play by Bosa. It kind of sucks coming from an old school feeling of smash mouth football. But yeah, man, that's all. That's my little rant.
On Travarius Ward first, before we get to Bosa, I mean, Travarius Ward, going back to the offseason, in my opinion, there were 3 big name cornerbacks that the 49ers could have gotten. JC Jackson, Stephon Gilmore, and
Hey, Rohan, real quick.
yeah. Go for it.
Beto's gonna get going here. He had some family come over, so I just want to wish him a farewell.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me on. Sorry to cut you off, Ron.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem.
My daughter came over unannounced, so I'm gonna go and see what she wants. But thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Go Niners. Let's have a good time.
Beto. Anytime,
Wait,
my man.
Beto.
NFC champions.
Let's go. Let's get
Let's
it.
go.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
guys. Peace.
See you, buddy.
But continuing on Travarius Ward, like I said, there were 3 big name. There were a good amount of good cornerbacks on the market, but there were 3 big name free agents, the 3 I mentioned. I didn't think the 49ers would go after J.C. Jackson. His contract demands not only, and also the length of his contract made it very clear that getting the $28 million the first year, essentially meaning the 49ers would have to pay a good amount of money up front, not necessarily their MO. They like flexible deals. As for Gilmore, or Travarius Ward. I would have been fine with either cornerback. And this year, both cornerbacks have been very good. Like Gilmore has proven once again that he's a top level cornerback. But Travarius Ward, what was the upside? First of all, the contract was team friendly. It was like I thought it was that team friendly to where when I initially got the details from a source, they told me, please leave out the words team friendly in the contract. And to me, I thought the contract was amazing for Travarius Ward. It likely sets up an extension in the future, given how the money, the guaranteed money's in the first 2 years. But overall, 25 years old, locking a guy up for the next 3 years, extending him through his prime, something you want to get. It's a cornerstone that you could build upon, especially with Emmanuel Mosley expected, or at least at the time was expected to go elsewhere with no money in the next offseason. Great addition, has proven exactly what he's done over the last 3 seasons in Kansas City. Great in terms of coverage ability, especially in man coverage, and a great run tackler or run defender.
Yes. I was
Has
just going to
been
say that
phenomenal
tackler wise.
in both fronts, and that's been the thing.
Can I just say real quick to Ty Alston? I just want to give the East Coast, what is it? East Coast Red and Gold? I always mess up the name of their channel every single time. East Coast Red and Gold podcast.
That's like the one where you got like a round table of people, right?
Yeah, Ty Alston, he got on me before for saying Purdy was playing like Montana. I was panicking. I had to come up with a comparison. Of course, he's not playing like Joe.
It's the composure is reminiscent.
Yeah,
the composure
is somebody
reminiscent.
Just clip that. Somebody clip that and put it on Twitter. That's blasphemy.
Yeah, and then they're going to have like so much hate. Like this fool, this big nose redheaded fool is telling people. No, you know what I mean.
Oh my God. No.
Yeah, that would be another whole narrative to run with, right? Go ahead.
Aaron, I got to head out right now, but
all right.
I really appreciate the time. Rich, it was good. Obviously, talking with you in this setting for the first time. Great show. We'll talk sometime soon.
All right, man. Take care.
Anytime, bro.
Appreciate it.
Yee.
All right. It's now the original too. Yeah, like I guess we've nailed pretty much everything. I guess to me, the last kind of thing we could talk about is 3 games left. Can we win out? I really think we can. What's your thoughts?
My original prediction, like if I make predictions and I have fun with those kind of things, I do it just to have fun and just competing with myself, seeing if I could be right. Maybe I'm testing my ego or whatever it is. You know, I just like competition. But my first prediction was 16-4, man. That was my
Dude, you might be right.
And when I make those predictions, I don't switch it in 5 weeks or recalibrate it, 10 weeks later. I'm like, oh man, I'm either, that's it. That's my prediction. It was 16-4. I think I made it in May. I said the 49ers, Bills in the Super Bowl. And then I was like a couple weeks later where Frank Gore came out and said Bills and 49ers, and everybody's just, but it's an easy take. They arguably two of the best rosters in the NFL. Philly's up there. A lot of us seen Philly doing real well before the year. A lot of people seen the Saints doing real well. I was one of the unbelievers of the Saints, but I'm getting off topic. But I think, could you imagine the movies that will be made if we really just win it out, man, and really pull it off and go 16-4? I think that would. So it's the first 2 teams get the bye now, right? It used to just be
one team gets the bye.
One gets the bye. Okay,
hold on. The number 2 seed will have the ability. They'll host their first the wild card game would be theirs in their own place. And then if you win the wild card game, the divisional round is also in your building. And saying the Eagles lose in the divisional round, instead of us going on the road to play the Eagles, we would get the NFC Championship game also in Santa Clara.
So if we're not the number 1 seed, we'd have to win 4 in the playoffs, right? We'd have to.
Yep. Oh, everybody except the top seed. Everybody but the top seed. Yeah, go ahead.
I rebuke my 16-4 that I've always had, and I think I meant to put it to 17-4. That's playoffs included. Yeah, man, I think we could pull it off, man. It just feels like last year felt like a special season, and it was. For the fight we had, finishing it 7-2. We came up short, obviously, and it was still a special season. This season just has a little bit more magic on it, man. That's just the way I feel. And we're right there. It's still on the table.
I just want to say that I think we could win out. I know somebody in the comments just up here. Let me see if I can find him. He said it'd be good to lose a game before the end of the season. I kind of agree with that. And I know that sounds kind of weird. Steve-O says we need to lose one before the season's over. Sometimes I get that feeling too, that we need to maybe get a little bit of adversity, kind of remind us who we are, and then go on from there. And that, I kind of get the same feeling. I don't want to ever lose, but say we lost to the Commanders, or say we lost to the Raiders, then it would be like, oh, okay, here's that fire in your butt again. And then, go on to do whatever we're going to do in the playoffs. But at the same time, to get that second seed would be huge because, we still got to play a wild card game. But say Philly loses in the divisional round, all the playoff games are in Santa Clara. So that would be huge. I know the comments, they've been wanting us to talk about the freaking, they want us to talk about the special teams. That was kind of an up and down kind of weird game, Gold missing the field goal. I'm still down on our special team coverage. I think they can get a lot better. And then, of course, Mish Wisnowski with that huge punt that downed him inside like the 3-yard line. And we were kind of up and down on special teams. Their coverage is kind of garbage. But as far as like kicking, we've been pretty good. And punt defense or punt placement, whatever, has been not too bad. What's your take on the special teams real quick?
I remember watching the game and I was live and I was telling Brandon, I was like, hey, it's okay. They could get to the 30. They could get to the 40 because they ain't going to get nothing after that. It's like, it just reminds me that bend, don't break. I mean, I just remember last year where it felt like we lost a couple of games because of special teams. As long as it's not.
One of them was in Seattle.
As long as it's not catastrophic. I mean, if you're doing a little bending, that's all good. So, I mean, I could sit here and be like, oh, man, hey, tighten it up, this and that. But as long as it's not truly affecting the game, I'm good. I'm good with it. It was odd to see Robbie miss. One of my predictions was we were going to I think I said it would be 24-20. And, I was joking like, oh, dang, he messed my prediction up, man. That field goal would have made it 24. But it is what it is. Bend, don't break. It feels like our whole team has that kind of a mentality. And, when it comes playoff times, just don't break, man. That's all it is. Hey, Brian Snyder has done a heck of a job. We obviously went and got Oren Burks and Ray Odom. I think I almost said Lamar Odom. But yeah, we got George. It's George. It's
George Odom.
It's Greg Odom, I think, is an old basketball player.
Yeah, that's the dude that looked like a 40-year-old when he was like 20. Yeah.
He had high hopes. Yeah, talk about a bust.
Just another Sam Bowie, right?
Yeah, I hate saying bust or garbage or any of that kind of crap. It's unfortunate. He had bad knees, I think it was. So, not really his freaking fault. Now I'm thinking of Kinlaw.
Speaking of bad knees, Aaron's got a bad knee too. But I'm old. See, I have an excuse.
Yeah. Hey, man. Hey, shoot. My wife has had some issues, man, and she's young, man. Yeah. Hey, but the surgery helped, man. I mean, she's flying around like she's like just so happy that she got it done.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm doing the PT right now, strengthen my quad. My quad feels a lot stronger, but I still don't have confidence in the knee. I'm trying to think. We pretty much banged every topic.
Yeah.
I did see something in the chat. Somebody was mulling around with something. I forgot exactly.
So we play on Saturday, right?
Yeah, we play on this Saturday. We play next Saturday, guys. I did not know that. I was completely unaware, or I just didn't care or didn't pay attention. I did not know. So everything's kind of, I know the Niners are going to have an extra day off. They're going to do some Zoom meetings with their position coaches, which I think is awesome. I don't know if you saw the picture with Trey Lance hugging Brock Purdy. A lot of people, somebody in the chat earlier said I should have said something about it, so I figured I'd bring it up. I thought that was great. Jimmy Garoppolo nowhere to be found. Nothing.
Hey, I didn't even think about that, but maybe that's why Kittle come out with this T-shirt.
Kittle needs to let that mess go, dude. It's over with.
I think I'm going to just go ahead and say, I'm going to just make my guess. or maybe this is me being hopeful of what that shirt means because I see it and I'm just like, man, just let Brock have his moment. You know what I'm saying? And then I also was like, hey, I wonder if he's still even doing that. Does he really love this dude like that? Or is he mocking Jimmy Garoppolo almost? Is he like, yeah, Jimmy, it feels great, baby. We got Brock over here. I don't know. There's so many ways you could twist it, but then I was also thinking, is he kind of stirring this up because he knows all the outside noise and how they get down? So is he almost in a reverse psychology way using this to unite the Niners even more? Like, hey, screw all y'all. We hear y'all talking about Trey and Jimmy and Brock. We're going to give ourselves even more fuel to have us kind of create some controversy to try to that Tupac me against the world type mentality.
Sometimes you got to create your own bulletin board. Like Jordan used to take everything that was a slight against him just to use his motivation. So whatever.
And Kittle,
go
he's a freaking
he's friends
a
with
jokester.
Jimmy.
He's friends. He's Joker. He's look. I mean, even Brock is already telling him to. What did Brock say about Kittle? Like, oh yeah,
He talks too
a
much.
lot. He talks like, hey, even Brock knows Kittle. Even Brock knows. I'll just leave it at that.
Man. I guess the game is on Christmas Eve at 1:05 p.m. So that means it might be like 4:00 minutes. That's going to be that'll be interesting to see. This Niners team's they're pretty beat up. They get a little bit of they get like an extra day or two or one or whatever. But
hey, that could be the game where I could say, hey, I wonder if Brock comes out a little
rusty,
or the team comes a little rusty. But then, hey, look,
yeah, because of
Brock
what
was
they've
on
accomplished, right?
But Brock was on the bench for months and came in versus.
I feel like Brock wouldn't allow them to be that way. Other players might get a little bit distracted, but I feel like Brock doesn't seem like the type of guy.
And it's so cool to hear you say that. And it's like, Brock wouldn't allow that. It sounds like we're talking about a 10-year vet. It sounds like that's something like Tom Brady would do.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, Tom would never, Tom ain't gonna let this team sleep. That's just dope to be able to, have this kind of confidence in a wink, wink third stringer.
Luke Luna says, paying respect to Jimmy 100%. And I loved he played with that shirt on because, like you said, Kelts, we don't get there without Jimmy. Yeah, that's the part. No, that's the real. No, you're right, Tommy, or excuse me, Luke. Jimmy's been part of this thing too, and it's. I guess with me, it's just sometimes all the noise and all the side talk, it becomes a little bit annoying.
Yeah,
and you want the respect to go to the people that are playing on the field at that time, but at the same time, Jimmy has been part of it. So this year.
I broke it down like this. We don't have Trey without Jimmy. And it's just like we had to have all three one way or another. It's like without any one of the ones, this team isn't what it is and how it's built. Like, so we all have our favorites. We all have our opinions, but at the beginning, middle, and end of the day, I threw out a tweet today. Hey, Jimmy, Brock, and Trey are all on the same team.
Yep.
Hopefully us as fans can be on that same team if this is the team we root for. But it's not some people call them cult leaders or whatever, but it's the guys who aren't true 49er fans but are like a true Jimmy fan that stir the pot in a way to poke and prod, and just stir it all up to almost try to back you into a place of, hey, you better pick one or the other or you're this or that. It's like, hold on a minute. I don't got to listen. That ain't none of my business, man. I know I've bitten the hook. I know I've bitten the hook here and there, but I don't got to do nothing.
Does Jimmy start in the playoffs then? No. I don't think so. No.
I think Jimmy, hey, great job, great professional, but I think Jimmy is gone. But then it wouldn't surprise me to see the 49ers do something that none of us see coming.
You don't disrupt the apple cart. By doing that, especially with a guy who's super chill and super poised. Now, if he comes out and craps the bed and Jimmy's there to be had, I'm not. Hey. Then whatever. But let's get there and secure everything. I know a lot of people in the chat are asking, should we rest people? The only way you could start putting people and maybe giving some people some blow, that's the right word, a blow, is if we can improve our seating. And say we have like a game left and we can improve the seating. I would still play guys, that I wouldn't play guys completely, like maybe hold out certain players for the playoffs, but to go in there and just completely bench everybody,
nah,
I think that'd be that would be bad for chemistry.
You want to keep them primed and ready.
Yeah.
You might want to sit maybe a guy like Bosa because he feels like he's always primed and ready. And you know, like you just said, you got to pick and choose the right guys, and only the people in that organization truly know, you know, who those right guys are. You know, whether it be injury, whether it just be whatever it is, play the hot hand. Let's go, Cowboy.
Yeah, Purdy even said it. Luke Luna said it too. He said Purdy will stay the QB if he keeps playing this way. Agreed. I just want to say thanks to the chat. You guys have been super active tonight. I could get to all your names, but there's a gazillion of you in here. Got my regulars in here. I got my David McNiner, who used to be David McNew, I would assume. Luke Luna.
McNiner? Hold on, he changed it.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
Randy Daytona. We got Cowboy Angel was in here all stream.
GT.
We had Ted Talks in here. Ty Alston. All of you guys.
Jay Gray. We got all of the East Coast, Red Coast podcast.
Chrissy 19. My eyes are playing tricks on me right now.
Chrissy 1687. We got
Damn,
Brian.
so you're like a gazillion years old now.
we got Bryant Cope. We got Chris. We got Chris Hansen over there catching up the bad guys.
Catching all the predators.
We got him.
Thank you very much for doing God's work.
We got Raphael 6'2" or 5'6" Niners.
Old school supporter of the channel from way, way, way back. Tommy Huxley was in here. G-Rod. I could go on and on. All of you, thank you so much for your support. Man, we went an hour and a half tonight. We had an all-star cast. I think we do pretty damn good ourselves. Not that we need an all-star cast, but I thought it was nice. It was nice to have.
Gotta remember.
Terradome is in here too. Yup. G9 Garage. A lot of you. GTC Reels is in here. All of you guys. If I missed you, I love you. David, I think it's David Corona.
Corona? Man. That sounds... Man, I don't drink no more, but that does sound nice. I better stop myself
thirsty.
right
now. So many of you in here, though. Seriously, though. Thank you so much, everybody.
Want to say props to Beto and Beto and Rohan. It was good to meet him. Good stuff for setting this up, Aaron, and allowing them to come on as well, man. That was cool. I
didn't know how you were gonna feel with people just popping into the stream every so.
I love to keep my door open if the vibe is good, man.
Yep.
I'll just say that.
It's all about positivity and about people that uplift, not people that hold others down. That's how I try to associate myself with life and on YouTube. Anything going on the channel that you need to talk about while you're here?
Nah, man, I'm just juiced up that I finally got a normal show on my channel, and it's with you. It's on Friday night. Of course, I do Straight Out of the Bay on Monday nights, but that alternates channel. So on my channel, it's like once a month. And then, man, we do Niner Sickness podcast. We do the Last Man Standing, making our NFL picks on Wednesday. And man, it's just what a great year to be a part of that entire 49er community. A few years back, I was just riding solo, staying out of the way of, I didn't even know all this existed. So I always mention this. I feel like I get repetitive, but it's just my gratefulness and thankfulness of this whole thing, man, and being able to talk about the game I love, about the team I love. And it's just cool. I always just try to remain grateful, of just the technology of today, man, and it could be utilized in a horrible way, or it could be utilized in a great way. And you're in New York, I'm in Cali, and we get to chop it up. So
damn, I wish I lived in Cali. I want to say this. I said this on Twitter today. If I would have known that the Niners YouTube community was so full and that it was kind of like, it's super hard when you have so many other content creators. I said I probably wouldn't have done it. The thing that has kept me doing this, because I see all the people and I see all the other great channels that are, I look at maybe that are better than me or have, they watch film and they have a, backing or spotlight from a higher channel or a better channel. The thing that has kept me doing this is relationships cultivated. If it wasn't for the relationships, I probably would have stopped doing this because I would have said, what's the point? There's like 35 other channels that people can choose from.
Hey,
but I've cultivated people in the chat. I've gotten to know people in the chat, like social media wise, and the people that I've gotten to stream with over the last 2.5-3 years has been nothing short of amazing. So, like I said, if it wasn't for that, I probably would have stopped doing it a long time ago, just because there's so many. But all the
Hey,
relationships that I've cultivated with all these fans, there's no way I could stop it.
hey, I know it probably comes off as a humble aspect when you say it, but just hearing you say people better than me, hey, nobody's better than you, bro. You are the only you, and you were created like that for a reason. I'll just leave it at that, man. You know, it's easy to look at numbers and labels and oh, the president has the label president, so he must be. Hey, I don't know. I just look at, we're maybe I'll just stop right there, man, because I get deep into it. But I just got to say, I just think you do amazing, man. Real talk.
Adjust my camera and show off my Niners light. It's kind of far back there. It's not real big,
Look at Luke
but it's like
Luna.
really long. This sounds really bad. It's not real big, but it's really long. The light is. Sorry, Luke Luna with the $20 super to close it out. He says, "Merry Xmas, brother, and respect as always. I hope you have a blessed holiday. I'll always be here, and hopefully, I'll be present on the tube eventually." Yeah, he's got a busy life. He wants to do the YouTube thing. It's an intimidating factor, and especially if you're not, with the whole technology thing. I wish I could like out of body, like instant transport into someone else's like living room instead of trying to tell him stuff over the internet. Be like,
Yeah.
be sitting next to him like, this goes here. Press this button. It's hard to explain it sometimes, but yeah, I'm always down. I'm always down to always add somebody else to the fray. But again, thanks everybody. Thank you, Luke, for the super. I appreciate that. And until we see each other again, everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy a weekend free a Niners game. Get to relax a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And I might see you. I don't know how we're working this. The 49er, the NWO show. We could do it. We might do it. I don't know when we're going to do it. We might. I don't know when the next NWO show is going to be, just because of how the schedule is next week. But I'll keep everybody informed. And me and Rich really appreciate everybody. Until next time, everybody stay safe and healthy. And we'll talk to you later.
Peace.
Peace.